I will be discussing is multilateral diplomacy is the preferred path for larger states. The growing importance of multilateral diplomacy is a phenomenon of the 21st century, partly because the 21st century has thrown up problems which are universal in nature, such as human rights, the international control of diseases, the international flow of capital and information, humanitarian assistance, labor rights, trade, natural environmental issues with transnational fallout, and environmental issues of an international nature. The above-mentioned problems supersede natural sovereignty, and these have required some from other and bilateral diplomacy in order to address them. However, a mounting backlash against globalization is mingling with widespread issues of faith in the multilateral system, with the conspicuous gap between expectations and outcomes in Copenhagen being merely the latest example. The matters of great deal because it publics believe that cooperation doesn't work. Governments will have greater difficulty marshalling the political will or financial resources to carry out multilateral solutions. Critics of multilateral diplomacy argued that multilateral agreements will have to target ambitious and sometimes elusive denomination of the many national interests involved, and this tends to the lowest common denomination of all the countries involved as a result of the need to reach a political consensus among the participants. The negotiations and drafting process is usually decided by large and powerful countries, whereas the small countries have almost no ability to influence the outcome of multilateral negotiations. Again, in a multilateral agreement, it is extremely difficult to reach the necessary consensus in order to conclude such an agreement, and therefore, in many cases, it remains a desirable but attainable good or goal. Additionally, the US, Russia, and China all fail to recognize the international court, thus this drastically reducing the power. Also, the most published fight against global warming appears to have brought to a habit by the failure of the major problems to sign up to the Kyoto Protocol. Cockburn again argued that multitude of multilateral treaties concerning weapons of war have ended up very little of what they promised because of major powers refusing to sign them. These are black marks against the name multilateral diplomacy, and there are cases where, rather than recognizing a common good and making concessions on all sides, national interests have triumphed. Although achieving broadly multilateral efforts admittedly has its own sort of obstacles and pitfalls, but it also has benefits that are inherently is not possible for any nation. Even the United States too achieve when it acts without others or even with a select few. For the purpose of this essay, this paper argues that multilateral diplomacy is the preferred path for larger states.